head into the reserve. Now, if you've got a camera with you, I'd recommend you turn your camera to some kind of a motion setting. We won't be allowed to stop for every single animal that we see out there, and the animals are going to be on the move too. So that's going to help you to get the best possible pictures as we drive through here. Also, make sure you hang on tight to those cameras or any other loose items that you might have in your hands. If anything falls over the side of the truck while we're out there in the reserve, we are not going to be allowed to stop and go back for it, no matter how expensive or shiny it might be. So, make sure to hang on tight to whatever you've got with you in your hands. Alright, now looks like we've got our clearance to enter the reserve, so let's head on down in. We are going to be entering into the Little Ituri Forest here first. Now, the reserve out here in Harambe was established way back in 1971, and it covers over 800 square miles out here in East Africa. And the first area we're going to be in is the Little Ituri Forest, and we'll see what we can find while we're out here in the forest. If you look over there to the right-hand side, you can see a dark brown animal with black and white striped legs. That's called an okapi. Now, those stripes on the okapi's legs make a lot of people think it's related to the zebra, but it isn't. It's actually a relative of the giraffe. And if you can see that okapi's face, you can see it looks a lot like a giraffe's face. You can kind of tell the relation. They're also very shy and reclusive, the okapi there. They weren't discovered by the Western world until about 1901. Now, as we keep moving, we're going to head down around toward this watering hole over on our left-hand side. This is a real popular gathering place for a lot of the animals here in the Ituri Forest, including these black rhino that are right over here next to the water on the left. There's one laying down by that fallen down tree, another one standing up a little further ahead. We'll come on up and see this one that's standing here a little bit further ahead of us. The black rhino weighs about 3,000 pounds. It's also got inch-thick hide and the ability to charge up to about 35 miles an hour. Add all that together and you have yourself an animal that's pretty much indestructible to anyone but man, but it unfortunately has been poached, and there now are fewer than 5,000 black rhinos left in the entire world. So it's always really cool when we get to see black rhinos out here. It's also really cool when we get to see these bongos that are over here on the right-hand side. The bongo's a master at hiding out here in the forest. It's usually way back in the trees and the brush, and we can't see it at all. It's a really great view of that one that's right next to us. It's actually got the nickname Ghost of the Forest because of how good it is at hiding out here. And this is a really great place for the bongo because there's all these thick trees and brush. It gives it a lot of good places to hide. Not such a great place for us though, kind of for the same reason. So I think I'm actually going to take us to the Safi River right now, where the trees should clear out and it should get easier for us to find some animals up that way. We're heading on up here into the Safi River. Keep in mind that it's home to a lot of hippos. Make sure you're watching closely for these hippos when they come on up this way. They like to spend the majority of their day submerged underwater. That can make them pretty tough to spot sometimes, so make sure you're watching closely. So there's one back there kind of in between the island and the shore there on the right-hand side. Now, hippo are able to hold their breath for up to 8 minutes at a time. That allows them to stay submerged for a long period without needing to come up for any air. And when a hippo does come up out of the water, it typically is at night to eat, and it'll eat about 150 pounds of grass every single night. We're going to come to this water here and look over on the left-hand side and see if we can find some more hippo this way. You can see it all the way down there submerged in the water, kind of in front of that island. And also on the island, there's several gray-colored birds called pink-backed pelicans. Those like to herd fish in the shallow water to eat them. And back here behind, there's several more hippo back here. Now, if you ever see a hippo moving around in the water, it isn't swimming, it is actually walking across the surface on the bottom. Hippos weigh about 5,000 pounds, so they're too heavy to actually really swim. But they can still move around in the water pretty well by walking.
All these guys. Ooh. Yeah, I think so.
Alright, as we come around this corner, it looks like there are lots of Nile crocodile up here on our left. Alright, make sure to stay seated as we go over this bridge. These crocs are a lot larger and a lot more aggressive than American alligators are. They can be up to about 20 feet long, and they've got an extremely powerful jaw that they use to crush the bones of their prey. They also are cold-blooded. If you see any of those crocs sitting with their mouths open, they're actually doing it to try to get rid of the excess heat in their bodies to kind of regulate their body temperature. I'm going to go ahead and get us out of here right now. We'll go look at some more friendly animals up this way. We're actually coming up to one of my very favorite areas on the reserve. We'll be there soon. Before we we get there, though, over here on the right-hand side, you can see a baobab tree. This is sometimes called an upside-down tree for its branches that look like roots shooting up into the sky. Baobab trees are able to survive long droughts as well. They'll hold water in their trunks, and they also can remain leafless for up to 9 months out of the year if they need to. As we come around the corner here, we're going to see what is one of my very favorite views on the whole reserve. This is the entrance into the Serengeti grassland. Some animals like lions, elephants, giraffe, and also that sable antelope that's there on the left-hand side. That's a calf, and there's a few more older ones back behind it. If you saw any emblems of the reserve as you were coming in for your safari today, the animal that you saw on the emblem was a sable antelope because they're our reserve's emblem. Now we can see these older ones that are a little further back up around the hill. You can see they've got those long curved horns. Those can be up to about 5 feet long. And the calf didn't really have those long horns yet, but it'll get them as it gets older. Also there on the right hand side, there's all those gray animals grazing over there. Those are white-bearded wildebeest. They have a migration of about 1.5 million across Africa every year, those wildebeest. It's the largest migration left on Earth. But also there on the right-hand side of those two real large tan animals, those are called Patterson's eland. They're the largest antelope in Africa, that eland there. It's actually going to weigh up to about 2,000 pounds as an adult male. There's another one up here, lying down in the shade on the left-hand side. And the one standing up there that's kind of brownish-grayish and has a target on its backside is called a waterbuck. The waterbuck has a real long, oily coat that it uses to help repel water, and you can use that coat to get away from predators as well. It'll run into the water, and whatever is chasing it typically doesn't bother to follow it in. Also around this corner here on our left-hand side, there's 2 Ankoli cattle right here. Now these horns on the Ankoli cattle can be up to about 6 feet long and 20 inches around at the base. They are also sometimes called Watusi cattle, named after the tribe that first domesticated them. And the inside of those horns actually is mostly hollow. It's got a honeycomb pattern with blood vessels running through. That acts as a natural cooling system for the Ankoli cattle, and it also prevents their horns from being too heavy for them to carry around. Also laying down right up here on the left-hand side, there's a Maasai giraffe right here on the ground. It's one of 2 types. This one is a Maasai, the other is called a reticulated giraffe. And the reticulated giraffe is going to be a lot larger and more brightly colored than these Maasai giraffe. They'll also have kind of a more even net-like pattern on their skin. You can see these Maasai giraffe have a real uneven pattern on their skin. There's not really much of a pattern to it at all. This one up around this corner on our right-hand side is another Maasai giraffe. Now, a day in the life of a giraffe consists of a whole lot of eating. Most days a giraffe will eat for 16 to 20 hours out of the day, then only sleep for about half an hour. And a lot of times when a giraffe does sleep, it will do its sleeping standing up. They've got those real long legs that can make it hard for it to sit or lie down sometimes, so they'll just sleep standing. There's another Maasai giraffe over here on our left-hand side as well. You can see it's got that real uneven pattern. It's pretty darkly colored. Hopefully we'll get to see a reticulated giraffe or 2 as well, so you can kind of see the difference between them. Now, as we come around this corner, over here in these trees on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see a reticulated giraffe back in these trees. And you can kind of see that net pattern it's got on its skin. The reticulated giraffe actually gets its name from the Latin word reticulata, that means net, because of the net-like pattern it has on its skin. There's going to be another one right up here next to the road on the left as well, and the one a little further back, which is reticulated. So you see there's 2 on the left. And the one closer is Maasai, the one that's further back is reticulated. Now the giraffe is the world's tallest animal. It'll stand up to 20 feet tall and weigh up to 2,500 pounds. It's normally the reticulated giraffe that's that large. The Maasai tends to be a bit smaller, usually about 18 feet tall. Looks like up ahead of us here, it's going to be on the right-hand side of the road. There's a few elephants up here. That is really cool. Actually, I heard that up ahead of us in the red clay pits, there's been a lot of elephant activity. We're going to head there soon. But it's really good news that they're already out and around over here. That hopefully means they'll be out and around in the clay pits too. Also in the trees here on the left-hand side, There's some mandrill monkeys. Now, mandrill monkeys have bright red and blue markings on their faces. They're actually the most colorful monkey in the world. We're also at about the only spot in the reserve with radio reception, so I'm going to see if I can find some music to listen to as we drive through here. Alright, now I think it's about time for us to head into those red clay pits and try to find some more elephants. To get there, though, we gotta cross this rickety bridge, which makes me a little bit nervous. Yeah, I'm not sounding like the healthiest bridge ever. Okay. Good, I guess. Yeah, not a fan. We'll go back another way for you to cross over. Not about to take this bridge again, but we're almost off, so that's good. Okay, let's get out of here. Glad they made it over the bridge. That was making me way too nervous. Definitely not about to cross that again, so we'll find some other way to go back if we need to. But here we are actually down in the red clay pits. It looks like what I heard was true. There have been elephants here. You can see kind of around us on either side there's some tusk marks in the clay. The elephants actually like to come over here and eat the clay there. It helps them to get some vitamins and minerals that they wouldn't be able to get otherwise from their regular diet. Out there on the left-hand side, you can see a little bit of a few elephants over that way. We're going to come around this corner here and try to get a better view of some elephants. And if we've got one, we'll be sure to stop up here so we can get some good pictures. And over there on the right, there are a few baobab trees like we saw a little bit earlier. And down here at Harambe, we're actually studying the vocalization patterns of elephants to try to better understand the way that they communicate. You can see some over there on the left. We think that the better we're able to understand how elephants communicate, the better we're also going to be able to help to keep them protected from poachers. Male and female elephants both have ivory tusks, which is what poachers like so much, so it's really important for us out here at Harambe to make sure we're doing everything we can to try to help keep them safe. Elephants also have real sensitive skin, so a lot of times, especially when it gets warm and sunny out, we'll see elephants throwing dirt and mud up onto their backs. They do it to try to stay cool and also to act sort of like a natural sunscreen. We don't like to get sunburned, and elephants don't either. And like giraffes, elephants are real big fans of eating. Some days they'll eat up to 600 pounds of food. As we keep moving here on the left-hand side, there's several greater flamingo over here. Now these are the lightest shade of pink in the flamingo family, and they get their coloring from their diet that's really high in carotene. There's also some white birds in there with a little bit of gray on them that look exactly like greater flamingo otherwise, and they are. They're just a bit younger. Once they get older, they'll turn pink too, just like the rest over there in the group.